Hello and welcome back to the FoodTribe Podcast. We were trying to get one of these out weekly, but a little global pandemic put the brakes on that a little bit. Anyway, a few microphone home deliveries later and we're back up and running again. So I'm FoodTribe editor Rachel Hogg and I'm here this week with FoodTribe senior staff writer Jess Morris.
Hello.
And freelance journalist Clare Wiley, who's all the way over in LA.
Hi there.
So, as ever, you can find us on foodtribe.com or download the app in the Apple and Android stores. So, quite a bit has happened since our last podcast. This is podcast number 3. We recorded podcast number 2 in an actual office with actual people in it in actual London.
How and right now, does that seem now? Just so alien.
Seems like a really, really long time ago.
Right.
I don't even know. I mean, in the UK, we're currently on week number 5.
I've lost count. I can't even remember. I think that lockdown officially started on the 23rd of March, something like that. So a good month.
Okay. Right, good month. And oh God, that's gone really fast, weirdly. Are you in lockdown over in the US as well, Claire?
We are, yeah. I was counting this morning because it just seems like an eternity at this point, but we are actually in week 6 now. So yeah, I think everyone's sort of adjusting to this kind of new normal, but I'm definitely getting a bit restless, looking forward to things being open again.
God, so you guys have actually been going longer than we have. Possibly.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think it was Friday the 13th when everything got really serious.
Wow. God. So since all of that's happened and the world has kind of shut up shop, I have hosted a couple of pub quizzes with a couple of guys called James May and Jeremy Clarkson.
Just casually, just a couple of little pub quizzes.
Which is a weird kind of side effect of this whole thing has been that Clarkson and May haven't been able to do their usual travelling around the world and filming exciting things everywhere. So yeah, they've got on board with the whole obsession with virtual pub quizzes.
Did you ever think that this was what you'd be up to at this particular time?
Absolutely not. Like, of all the things in all the lockdowns, it's not something I thought would happen. And also, I had no idea how talented so many FoodTribe users are. So we had a competition about drawing bean art to win a signed, not a signed, that was the Clarkson one, to win a video by James May.
You say bean art there like it's an official thing.
Yeah, I think we need to trademark it. And basically just got people to draw beans in any shape or form. And we had more than 200 people enter. Wow. And I think at least 3 of them were just like badly drawn pictures of penises with the word beans written on them.
Obviously.
But, yeah, of course. But some people are absolutely incredible, like kind of channeling famous artists, famous art movements. And yeah, like so impressed with
it. Was actually ridiculous. Like you had the Van Gogh style one, the Dali one. Like people really pulled it out of the drawer, didn't they, really, on this one?
Amazing.
Yeah, it was insane. And apparently James May actually he couldn't decide between the top 3. So he's decided he wants them all to add to his actual real life personal art collection.
I would actually love to see that. I wonder if he was just saying that.
I think that needs to happen.
It's actually like a thing. Like he has a proper like collection of art, and this is genuinely going to be joining it.
How cool is that?
I know. And yeah, I mean, it's just strange because, I mean, again, with them not being able to drive cars, like in the whole of the world of FoodTribe, there isn't much happening. So no one can really drive cars or build them or sell them. But in the food and drink world, it has been a bit of a different story. Like we can't go out and eat at restaurants or have fancy cocktails at bars, which unfortunately I have realised are basically my only hobbies in life. Everyone has still got to eat, and people seem to have had a lot more time to cook, which has been really nice. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been doing more cooking and enjoying home cooking more than you were before.
Well, I'm massively locked down in the countryside at the moment. So I'm actually sharing a house with my parents at the moment. And my dad is a chef. So I have been eating phenomenally well during this lockdown. It's just been ridiculous. I've just been trying my hardest to kind of exercise and be healthy and stuff. And then you've got this guy laying on trifles, like desserts, ridiculously like just calorific and delicious dinners and barbecues and things. It's just been a real kind of like, now the weather's come nice, it's very much barbecue season around here.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. I've been cooking.
It's slightly unnerving in that I am going to put on like 10 stone by the time I come out of quarantine.
I think this is maybe inevitable side effect of lockdown.
I think I mean, obviously I loved cooking anyway, otherwise I probably wouldn't be in this job. But I do think that lockdown has given me a bit of a renewed appreciation for kind of taking time over cooking and slow cooking things. And I think I've been trying to kind of work on my techniques and stuff, so kind of knife skills and things.
Yeah, it's like it's all you've got to kind of concentrate on, you know, like the main deal in your day is what you're going to eat and what you're going to cook and how you're going to cook it. And it just puts so much emphasis and like almost pressure on what you're going to be cooking that you pay a lot more attention to it than you normally would.
Yeah, totally agree. Have you been cooking a lot more as well, Claire?
I have, yeah. And I also feel like it's been this nice way to mark kind of the end of the working day, because you know when you work from home, it can easily just kind of, your schedule can kind of become a bit of a mess without a bit of structure. And so I've been using like cooking as kind of a divide between the working day and then like relaxing in the evening. And yeah, I think one thing that's been really cool actually has been like not being able to go shopping that much. And whilst initially I was like, oh, this is going to be quite difficult, those kind of restraints have actually meant I've been quite resourceful, which has kind of been quite fun. I've been like going off piste with recipes and stuff. So yeah, it's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Nice. And I loved your article that you did on FoodTribe this week about how, again, like you said, just being more resourceful if you've been struggling to kind of get things at supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to put some of these ideas together, just things that I sort of do naturally now, but might be useful.
So good. I'm definitely going to use the banana, kind of substituting banana for the eggs in the pancakes.
That one,
that's such a good idea.
I just can't believe that genuinely works. Like they taste just as good as if they have egg in them.
Sounds better.
Have you guys found that there has been anything that you've struggled to get at supermarkets?
Well, the other week we couldn't get eggs. I'm not really sure why, because then the other day we went and they were fully stocked. I think pretty much now everything looks to be kind of back to normal. It looks like the supply chain has kind of recovered a bit. I even saw a couple of rolls of toilet paper when we went on Tuesday. It's mythical loo roll, which has been very elusive up until now. I haven't seen it in shops. So yeah, I'm glad we did a little bit of stockpiling of that at the beginning, because yeah, that has been hard to get. But it looks like everything else is more or less back to normal.
Yeah, we've had the same here. Like there's just got, like you said, eggs, and then flour, and then tinned stuff.
Flour
like tinned tomatoes.
Like mostly everyone's gone like baking mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really nice. I haven't done any baking lockdown bread yet, which I feel like I really need to do, but I'm a little bit scared because I would say my cooking is pretty good, but I'm not so good on the baking side of things.
The trouble is as well, if you bake a loaf of bread, you've then got to eat all of that bread. it's like too tempting.
No.
Very good point.
Yeah. And I think I need to work my way through. So loads of the kind of big chains that have been sort of releasing and giving away their recipes so people can get a taste of it at home. So although it's not quite the same, I have had a bash so far at the McDonald's sausage and egg McMuffin, but I only had a bagel, so I did a bagel. That's me being resourceful. And then there's the likes of, Wagamama's, Oaxaca, IKEA have released their meatball recipe.
Oh my God.
KFC, although that was some guy who apparently spent like 18 months trying to perfect the recipe. The Greg's Chicken Bake, Krispy Kreme donuts, prep cookies. And I think, Jess, you did the Pizza Express doughballs, which is another big one.
And I can confirm that they were just like the Pizza Express doughballs. They were so good. So
wow, really? Oh,
everyone
amazing.
needs to try that recipe.
Has it been kind of happening the same in the US as well, Claire?
I have seen a little bit of that, but I didn't know it was quite so many of them in the UK. So yeah, there's been DoubleTree, as in the Hilton chain, has released their cookie recipe, and Disney have released their churros recipe. And then Waffle House also put out their pancake mix. So I think it's been a little bit less than what's been going on in the UK, which sounds amazing. I think I need to check out those recipes.
Maybe
I did
we're
actually
just more addicted to eating out and takeaway than you guys are.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because a lot of places are still doing takeout. I don't know if that might be a factor.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, most places are kind of, the bigger places are closed. It's all the smaller stuff over here that's kind of stayed open. So we've got like village pubs that have turned into kind of local community hubs, so you can get takeaway meals. There's a phone box in Scotland that they've turned into a community larder. And then there are, I think in London and kind of the big cities, there's quite a few places still delivering and like kind of takeaways, and there's a few kind of elsewhere that are doing that. But I had my first lockdown takeaway the other day. I had an Indian, and oh my God, like I felt like I appreciated it so much more than usual. Like, I don't know if it's because it felt like more of an event, but oh my God, it was so good.
And also getting someone else to cook for you that isn't just you.
It's one of those things that I think kind of being in London and being in the office and stuff before, you do find that you're just kind of grabbing stuff on the go. But yeah, just having that joy now of it being a rare treat to get someone else to cook for you was very good.
I wish that I could do the same. There's like nothing, I don't think, around here. I mean, I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. The thought of having a takeaway is yeah, I'm just, those days have long gone.
Nice. But yeah, looking at FoodTribe at the moment, like we've had so many more recipes and posts going up over the past month. I think like people have just been rustling up all sorts. Like there've been so many amazing looking breads. Mm-hmm. Obviously loads of banana bread, because are you even in isolation unless you've baked banana bread? And 1,000,001 Dalgona coffees. Have either of you tried the Dalgona coffee?
No, I haven't. I need to try. I've got to try it. Yeah, you're right. FoodTribe has been inundated with that.
I had one the other day, and honestly, I was like off my tits for the whole day. Like I'm not great at coffee anyway. Like I can only usually have one, but it was so strong.
What time did you have it?
For breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was probably sensible, but yeah, I was kind of in meetings and on hangouts and stuff. Like I must have just been kind of like shaking and just, it was strong.
Yeah, I haven't tried it either, but I really want to. I think they look incredible.
It's good and weirdly easy. Like it's one of those things that you kind of think, oh God, that's never going to work. Like how is it going to look like that? But yeah, a couple of minutes.
Amazing.
Good.
I bet you got a lot of work done as well.
I to hear both of you what the response is from both of you when you try it. Yeah. And what have you guys like really missed being able to eat or drink during all of this? And what's the first place that you want to go to post lockdown?
Well, I actually realized the other day that this is probably the longest I've ever gone, probably in my whole life, without having chips, like fries, well, French fries here. And yeah, I think I need to remedy that situation, because I feel like you can't get chips on takeout. You know, they're
not the same.
And they get kind of soggy by the time they're delivered to your house. So that's kind of a simple one, but something like, good pub chips or like fish and chips. I'm going to have to track that down in LA somehow. But yeah, that's what I need in my life right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just everything that's bad for you, like, KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, like Chinese takeaway. I'm just craving all of those things that I can't have.
I think for me, I just want a really good pizza. Like, oh my God. There's an absolutely incredible place at home, so up north near Manchester, called Woodfire Smoke, and I've been craving one of their pizzas since lockdown began. Or or just Franco Manca
I know.
on Santa Maria.
You just can't make one the same at home. Like, whether you make your own or you get like a frozen one or whatever, they're just never quite right.
Yep. I think like this, lockdown has made me realise that when I somehow have a load of disposable income, I need to buy myself a proper like garden pizza oven.
Great idea.
Oh my God, that is an absolute goal. Not just your average barbecue, you need a pizza oven.
Exactly.
Wood-fired pizza oven in your garden. Yes.
Oh my God, so good. And I think one of the other side effects of this whole thing is that I have 100% been drinking more than I was before. Not in like a bingey way, just like a regular kind of steady sort of way. So like if I don't have a glass of wine in the evening, it's kind of unusual now. Like, have you guys been the same, or have you been a lot more sensible than me?
I don't know. I actually think that since lockdown started, I've been drinking a lot more water. That sounds really boring, but I think it's probably just because like there's not much else to do or to think about. So you think about, I should probably keep myself hydrated, that you would normally just probably not even think about it as much. But yeah, I've constantly got water and tea and coffee on the go at the moment. So I'm drinking a lot just of everything.
I am actually drinking a lot more tea. I have this like peach tea that I've gone a bit obsessed with. So I'm just having like 4 cups of that a day. It's caffeine free, so it's okay. But yeah, that's maybe need to get a handle on that. I think I've been drinking.
I feel bad with my steady wine habit now.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say I'm definitely into my white wine and like a good IPA on the weekend. But then I did see, I don't know if you guys saw that video of Stanley Tucci making a Negroni.
Oh my God.
And
yes.
yeah. And so now I've got a real hankering for like a great cocktail.
That's it. It just sort of depends on the situation, I think. Like if you're having a Zoom meeting, then it is 100% fine to get absolutely trolleyed by yourself, which I have been doing. Not for work purposes. I'll just put that out there.
Social Zooms.
I didn't realise before watching that video how much I fancied Stanley Tucci. But also, like, I mean, bless him, like, that ain't a Negroni. Like, you can't shake a Negroni. And you can't suggest that you can put vodka in a Negroni. But also, if he offered to make me one with his lovely dulcet tones and his lovely face and his amazing biceps, I just wouldn't say no. And I would drink that.
Anything, would you? You'd not that back.
You just nod. Yes, Stanley, please make me a Negroni.
But yeah, I mean, in slightly less happy Stanley Tucci news, I think in the UK right now, like there is a huge amount of worry across the whole of the hospitality and food industry with how it's going. I mean, there's still issues with people demanding rent, like from restaurants and pubs that just have no way to pay for it. There's been people throwing away, like farms having to throw away insane amounts of milk and eggs, which seems crazy. Like like we were saying before, with them not being available in supermarkets, but they just don't have the kind of coffee shops aren't buying as much milk, obviously, and there's just less demand for eggs. I mean, the job security issues, the fact that pubs might still be closed by Christmas, it's just all a bit. It's very stressful. I mean, there was some statistic that I read yesterday that said 82% or craft beer sales have fallen by 82% since lockdown started.
Really?
Which is just crazy. I mean, there's so many I can't kind of get my head around the extent of the effects within just the food industry.
It is quite scary, you know? Like knowing people who, have pubs and restaurant businesses and stuff, and just the whole rent issues thing it's pretty huge.
Yeah, I saw one pub owner on Twitter yesterday who's currently got an £8,000 outstanding rent bill to pay.
Oh my God.
I don't understand how can you pay for that if you're not open and not doing any sales? Like, it's just, I don't know. There does need to be a lot more support, I think.
It really does. And if you think, oh my God, thinking about it maybe lasting until Christmas is just absolutely awful.
Yeah, and I did get really angry yesterday. There was an opinion piece not printed, online, God, online on the Independent about this woman who said that she was really glad that pubs might not be open until Christmas because she doesn't really like them and she doesn't really like drinking. Therefore, it will be great if the pubs aren't open till Christmas, and that we should all have more family-friendly places and go and drink lemonade and eat ice cream with children everywhere.
Honestly, what is that woman on? No idea. Just how can you say that when so many people work in the hospitality industry?
I mean, just in the pub industry, it's nearly 500,000 in the UK.
That
alone.
feels totally naive.
Also, who wants to drink at a family-friendly establishment? You know, who wants to hang out there?
Also, there are those places, you know, that is an option as well. It doesn't mean that pubs don't need to exist just so that you can have your lemonade and ice cream somewhere else.
Exactly. Like, I love lemonade and I love ice cream, but
time and place.
Pub. And I'm not going to force that on anyone else either. Like, you know, if people don't like drinking in pubs, then they don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I mean, Jess, you've been writing about some of the kind of more positive
stuff. So many things that people have been doing to sort of spread a bit of joy and help out the NHS in this ridiculously crazy sort of time. So, you know, on one end of the scale, you've got shed loads of discounts and like offers that have become available for NHS workers here in the UK. So, you know, you've got money off food delivery services and fast food outlets like Deliveroo, Just Eat, Leon, Hotel Chocolat even offering discounts. So you basically just got to look at the staff offers section on the NHS website, and there's absolutely tons of places offering deals at the moment. And then I guess on top of that, you've got basically every supermarket out there is offering some kind of NHS discount as well. Plus those special times of day when NHS staff can rock up and do their shopping. So yeah, like we were saying, fortunately stockpiling doesn't seem to be as much of a thing now, apart from like yeast and flour, which are nowhere to be seen. But still, with the sheer amount of people like queuing to get into the supermarkets at any given time, this is bound to be making like a huge difference. And then you've got people like Furloughed Foodies, D&D London, who are actively producing meals for NHS key workers for free. So thousands of healthy meals per day made by people volunteering their culinary skills. So whether they're Michelin-starred chefs in D&D's case, or people with absolutely no formal cooking training whatsoever, like Furloughed Foodies, you've got people coming together to support the NHS. And not even that, just branching out from that too. So Furloughed Foodies are also supporting homeless shelters and food banks as well, just by producing that home cooked food. And then other heartwarming, nice things you've got going on are alcohol manufacturers have switched production from booze to hand sanitizer. So that includes Chase Distillery, Absolute, Bacardi, Brewdog, and they've all been donating it to the emergency services and charities. And even hotels like Claridge's are giving the NHS food and rooms, which is just incredible. You know, just being able to just casually enjoy a stay in a 5-star luxury hotel. And then there's also stuff like really cool initiatives like people raising money via online cook-alongs. So there's the Pear Tree Inn in Leicestershire did that. And then obviously there's just been a huge influx of other cook-alongs to keep us entertained as well. While we're all cooped up at home, it's just everything everyone seems to be doing right now. So yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. I guess we've seen some really cool initiatives being put into action, and people are actually, you know, coming together to do their bit to help, which is quite inspiring, really.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot cheerier than my miserable bit. Is what's the situation like over in the US, Claire? Like, is it sort of similar vibe? Like, are there lots of really kind of nice neighborhood initiatives and stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's been a big kind of silver lining of this crisis, actually, has been seeing how inventive individuals and communities are getting in terms of supporting food workers and supporting in general. I think there's a lot of charitable organizations over here in the US that are both supporting people who work in the food industry, but also giving donations to people who are now struggling to afford food. That's really kind of the situation that we're in. There's also a lot of celebrities supporting in different ways. So, for example, Ashton Kutcher and his wife Amila Kunis just released a quarantine wine, and so all the proceeds of that are going towards COVID-19 relief. And then so many of the big food chains and restaurants themselves are donating money to local communities. So, for example, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, also Chipotle, and they're also doing a lot to support healthcare workers in their various communities. A lot of the support, I think, for people who work in the food industry is done on a state-by-state basis. So, for example, here in California, the state is supporting food and agricultural workers with sick pay. So that's really good to see. It's sort of very difficult to get a feel for what the situation is going to be like long term. A lot of businesses have been able to sort of pivot to takeout and have been, sustaining themselves that way. But then on the other hand, many independent restaurants have been forced out of business. So I think it'll be interesting to see what our high streets will look like after this. I'm hoping that enough independent businesses are left and have gotten people's support so that it won't be all chains.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's a concern over here as well. It's just what it's all going to look like afterwards. And I think as much as people have tried to predict it, I just think it's so unknown at the moment, which I think is kind of the scary thing for people.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, as we've obviously got this chance to chat with you over all the way in LA, I'd really love to know. I mean, I've been to LA once, but I'd love to know more about what the food and drink scene in LA looks like when it's up and running.
Sure.
Are there any crazy major food trends or anything that are kind of go on over there, or I'm just really keen to know what it's like over there.
Sure. Well, I've been living in LA for 1.5 years now. I moved over here from Manchester, and I have to say, I think it's one of the best food scenes in the world. It's one of the best food scenes I've ever come across, just because of the sheer diversity. Like, you can get anything from Ethiopian to really great Thai. Obviously, the Mexican is pretty much second to none, apart from in Mexico. And then there's also fantastic kind of new Californian food, which just really makes use of the state's like amazing produce and like local farmers markets. In terms of what's been going on, so the chef David Chang, he's been opening quite a few restaurants in LA. He's got a fantastic one in downtown LA called Major Domo, and it serves up amazing like seafood and snow crab and things like that. So I'm excited to get back to that one. Another thing that's really gaining a lot of traction is cannabis infused food in cafes. We're seeing a couple of those in West Hollywood at the minute, whereas before, it wasn't sort of within the law to have cafes where you could go and have cannabis. And now there will be, I think there'll be really a boom of creative and inventive food that has cannabis in it that goes way beyond, like a pot brownie. So that'll be kind of interesting to see.
Is that like cannabis or like CBD kind of cannabis?
No, it's cannabis. Yeah. So cannabis is legal here and a few other states. So I know CBD is legal in lots of different countries, but yeah, here that would be THC and CBD. Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be cool to see. Yeah. Cause I think there's a lot of chefs that, are being really inventive with that and just bringing it into the food in a really cool way. So yeah. Korean barbecue is really popular here. And then also one thing that we're seeing quite a bit is collaborations between chefs. So one of the kind of biggest openings recently is this place called Onda. And that's a partnership between two amazing female chefs, one called Jessica Koslow, and she runs this place called Squirrel in LA, and then also Gabriela Camara. So she runs this restaurant called Contramar in Mexico City. And so they've come together to make this amazing, sort of fusion Mexican Californian seafood place that's down by the ocean, which is really cool. And I would say for me though, moving here, it's there are a lot of amazing high-end fine dining places. But honestly, the best places I've been to are like delis and cafes and sort of casual eateries where the food is just kind of no airs and graces, but it's really well done with amazing ingredients. So that's been really fun to sample.
Is there still quite a big street food scene over there as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's that's sort of like a normal kind of part of life here. There's street food vans in every neighborhood. And then there's also a big sort of street food festival that happens in downtown where lots of different stalls and vans kind of come together and you can get food there from everywhere in the world. It's amazing.
This is already giving me some serious wanderlust, and I feel I'm about to make this work for myself. Because I'm really keen to know like how you kind of settled over in LA, and I know that you went on, I don't know what it was called, but kind of a 12 countries in 12 months kind of program you went on. So in possibly kind of just sadomasochistic kind of way, I just really want to hear more about that right now while we can't go anywhere.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it feels like wanderlusty even for me. It feels like a different lifetime ago now. But basically, a few years ago, I did this program called Remote Year, which is essentially where you live and work in 12 different cities in the course of a year with the same group of people. So you're all traveling through these cities as a big group. So there were 70 of us, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, it was the best year of my life. I kind of was in, I'll just like run quickly through the cities that we were in so you get an idea of like what kind of places they were and obviously about the food as well. So we started off in Mexico City, and then we were in Bogota and Medellin, which are both in Colombia, then Lima in Peru, then Cordoba and Buenos Aires in Argentina. And then we went through Europe. So we were in Prague, Belgrade, and Valencia. And then we spent the final 3 months of the year in Asia. So it was Kuala Lumpur, Chiang Mai in Thailand, and Kyoto in Japan. So we had Christmas in Japan, which was one of the best experiences of my life. It was incredible.
God. Did you have KFC on Christmas? Isn't that a Japanese tradition?
We did. It is. Yeah. It's so strange. I didn't realize that until I was there. And then everyone was saying, no, there's going to be people are going to have KFC on Christmas.
Completely
so I was like, okay. Yeah. But I mean, as you can imagine, food was just such a highlight of the whole year. There were so many incredible things, and some moments that really stand out in my memory are we went to Central in Lima, which is, I think at the time, I'm not sure where it ranks now, but at the time it was sort of the number one best restaurant in the world. So I was really lucky to be able to go there. The chef there does the dishes by altitude. So it's sort of according to the altitude and the different geographical regions of Peru. So we had some amazing, it's actually in Peru, there's like hundreds, I don't know how many, it's hundreds and hundreds of different variations of potato. So we had some really good potato dishes, which as an Irish person was keeping me very happy. And there was also some great ceviche there. That's kind of the thing in Peru is ceviche. But some places, I have to say, were pretty challenging as a pescatarian. And one of those was in Lima. And so I just have to tell you about this moment that happened in Lima. So I was actually writing an article for Vice at the time because it's pretty well known that in Peru, there's a Japanese Peruvian fusion food that's pretty well known. I think people have tried that. But what's less known is there's also a big Chinese Peruvian fusion as well. There were a lot of Chinese immigrants to Lima at the turn of the last century. So I was writing about this and I decided to go to one of the oldest Chinese restaurants in Lima's Chinatown. I went there. It was this beautiful restaurant. I interviewed the lovely family that run the place. And they then invited me back into the kitchen to take photos of all the dishes being cooked. And I thought, oh, this is great. So I go back, I'm taking the photos. It's amazing. And this is at lunchtime. So I figured they were cooking up all these dishes for the lunchtime rush. So I get these photos and then I'm finished kind of getting the photos that I need. And they invited me back to the table where we had the interview, back into the restaurant. And I got back there and it was laden with ribs, pork, chicken, pork crackling, beef, and their signature dish, which is sweet and sour guinea pig. And so at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit too late to say, yeah, I'm vegetarian.
Oh no.
Oh God.
So like I had to just let my polite people pleasing take over and just like sample everything, put my vegetarianism on hold for that moment. So yeah, that was kind of a challenging food memory, shall we say, but it really stands out for me.
Oh my God. I mean, that sounds like heaven to me, to be honest. I mean, not sure about the guinea pig, but
yeah, no, they're big into guinea pig there. So yeah.
Which was the kind of the food or the cuisine that most surprised you in all of the places that you went?
That's a great question. That most surprised me.
Either in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah. Actually, I suppose I would have to say Thai food, because again, you know, some of the, like I sort of just said, some of the countries were pretty challenging as a vegetarian. You know, we spent a lot of time in South America, so there were a lot of things that I couldn't eat there, you know, a lot of beef. And I was expecting, having not been to many places in Asia before this trip, I was expecting sort of a repeat of that by the time we got to Asia. But in Thailand, there were a lot of beautiful vegetarian dishes or things that could easily be made pescatarian, because I eat seafood as well. And we were in northern Thailand in a city called Chiang Mai, and their sort of signature dish there is called khao soi. And it's like these really delicious kind of plump noodles in this coconut milk soup, kind of like a laksa. It's really zesty and limey and spicy and delicious. So I think, yeah, that's probably one of the dishes that surprised me in a great way.
That sounds like heaven.
That's also, and my mouth is genuinely watering.
Yeah, I've probably spiked everyone's wanderlust there, but maybe it's given all you listeners some idea for when we're able to get out there again.
Yes, hopefully.
I think.
Yeah, I think that's really serious wanderlust for everyone there. We can only apologise for that. I'm sorry, but hopefully it has just inspired people to think about where they want to be in the world, like when we can finally go places again and experience things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, on that note, we really very much hope you've enjoyed listening, and we will hopefully see or hear from you soon. So please stay home, stay safe, and do look after each other. I've been Rachel Hogg.
I've been Jess Morris.
And I've been Clare Wiley.